Welcome to the Global Conversation, where we've got Romania in the spotlight. It's a country that often seems to be in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. But how justified is this rather tarnished image abroad? To discuss this and more, I'm joined by Romania's Prime Minister, Victor Ponta. Prime Minister, many thanks for joining us on the Global Conversation.
I thank you very much and welcome to Bucharest.
If we look at this question of image, and it is a rather checkered image, how justified do you think that is?
It depends. I think that, of course, Romania was one of the former communist countries who suffered a very harsh dictatorship until '89. We had a very bloody revolution. People died here for freedom, for democracy. Then, together with Bulgaria, we were the last one to join European Union. Now, of course, is Croatia, and I hope that the enlargement will continue. And it was a difficult transition from the communist time to a modern European market-oriented democracy. But I would say that I'm not only being a prime minister, but being a Romanian, I'm rather optimistic that we have passed even the difficult economic, social and political crisis that began in 2009. And now we can be one of the fastest growing European countries.
Well, you've just hosted the China-East Europe Summit. You seem to be the go-to person for China. How do you see China's influence in this part of the world?
First of all, I'm absolutely convinced that for China, a strong and united Europe, it's the partner that they need. They do not need different countries having different interests, and that's why this is in the end our goal as Europe, to be more united, to be more prosperous, to finish the difficult years of financial and economic crisis, and to be again a strong political and economic player.
Interestingly, sorry if I may interrupt, interestingly, one diplomat, European diplomat, said this is part of China's strategy to divide and rule. What was your reaction to that?
I think it was a wrong understanding. China is investing in Europe. It's buying European bonds, but also is investing in infrastructure, in economic projects. And this is a win-win situation that would help the European Union as a whole to have, even in the new members, a much faster economic development and an infrastructure that will close the gap with the older Western European countries.
You're obviously very aware of the backlash Romania is facing, particularly in Britain at the moment, but has been voiced in Germany and France regarding the lifting of work restrictions on January the 1st, all work restrictions for Romanians working in the EU. The vocabulary we hear is like an influx, a flood of Romanians coming to countries like Britain. Is that what they're expecting?
No, not at all. But the freedom of movement is one of the basic pillars of the European Union. We cannot change this basic pillar because then the whole construction will crash. And as much as the British can come in Romania and invest, and they do, and they are welcome to invest money, to sell goods, to make good business, to be tourists, to be political partners, you cannot have only one way direction.
So you're saying you don't think there is going to be this influx, this flood?
Absolutely not, and I'm explaining you why. Right now in Romania, we have not only economic development, but we have a lower rate of unemployment regarding the European average, and we have a lot of opportunities. Sometimes I would say that better opportunities than the Western member of the European Union. And the people who wanted to go abroad, they are already there, and it's not going to be any significant change in this.
How would you react to the British Prime Minister's approach to Romanian migration, cutting benefits?
I would say, maybe for your surprise, that I have read very carefully what Mr. Cameron said. And I would agree with him. First of all, that he reiterated that 1st of January he will respect the date set up by all the European Union. Second, and here I'm joining him, and also German Chancellor or some other Prime Minister, saying that it is the interest of all Europeans, including Romanians, Bulgarians, to fight against people who are illegitimately or abusively using the social protection system. I will always fight for the rights of honest, hardworking Romanians to go UK, France, Germany, for a better life, for a better job, paying taxes and being active parts of the society.
The European Commissioner Laszlo Andor reacted by saying that Britain was behaving with hysteria, was being hysterical. So you would disagree with that?
I would say that we should be more reasonable in tackling very difficult situation. I can understand the pressure over the governments to take sometimes populistic positions, and that's why I said that all the time that the mainstream parties are tempted to go to the populistic approach, to exit, to put out all the foreigners or to close the borders. They always lose. I still have in my mind the example of the former French president, Mr. Sarkozy. He used that very much and he lost the elections. And I think that the only parties and political movements which are taking profits of this new nationalistic and anti-foreigners approach are going to be only the anti-European, in fact, movements.
Well, let's switch this round, because we know how maybe the British, the French, the Germans view the Romanians. What about the other way?
I would say that our feeling is not at all negative, it's rather positive, because I was a teenager during the communist time, and for us, Europe has always been the dream, has always been the society that we would like to build it here in Romania.
You accept that? You would say that most people accept this sort of criticism?
I do not think that responding with the same rage or angriness will be the right answer. I think that the most clever answer that I've heard in Romania, it was one promoted by the media, which invited the most important representatives of different parts of British society to visit Romania. And as long as they came here, they changed their mind.
If we go back to this issue...
It's a lot of prejudice and prejudgments. And I think that Europe, it's having this very important goal to make people knowing each other and not to live on something that is written by prejudgments.
If we go back then to this image, this question of image, the Roma, you have a very large Roma minority, and that's often cited as one of the reasons that Romanians have a bad image abroad. How do you react to that?
There is an important Roma minority in all Eastern Europe, not only Romania. It's always this similarity of Romanian and Roma that makes maybe for the media easier. But there are important communities in Bulgaria, in Hungary, in Slovakia, in Serbia, in the region. I think this is a great challenge, not only for this country, but for Europe as a whole. They are European citizens. They need special programs to better integrate. And as I said in London or in France, the long-term solution is to better integrate them in their countries. If we simply say that we put them in the plane and we are moving them from Romania to Bulgaria or to France, this is a short-time solution, and this kind of solution are taken only some months before the elections, and then it's nothing solved on the long term.
Well, if we look at the long term, Amnesty International is actually quite critical about how your government has behaved towards the Roma minority here, saying that there are often forced evictions and that you haven't reacted against that. And Roma say, well, the conditions are so bad in our country, we have no choice to leave.
To be very honest, I think that these are rather older reports, because
this is in the current report.
Amnesty International.
Yeah.
I would say once again that it's much easier to criticize than to work together. So we are very open. We have changed a lot, not only the legislation, but we have put a lot of Romanian and European monies in programs. We have institutions who are taking care of implementing the strategy. Of course, there is still a lot to be done, and working together will make us more successful.
Another thorny issue for Romania is the issue of corruption. And I was speaking to Transparency International, is based in Romania, and they're saying the problem is so endemic, is so entrenched, that even with the best will in the world, it's pretty much impossible for you to root this out.
If we would root this out, what Transparency International Romania will do? Look, the reality is this: there are a lot of old things that it's much easier to keep repeating for the European public media, because it's easier to present it.
No, they're unpleasant myths, but Transparency International, you are the fourth worst performing nation in Transparency International, and this is no later.
In Europe?
In Europe, yes, in the EU.
All right.
So it is an actual problem.
I would say that Romania has implemented since 2007 all the new institution, the regulation that the European Commission helped us to do. Results have been absolutely impressive, because a lot of politicians, public functionaries, they've been sanctioned for corruption. We have a lot of cases. We have very independent institutions which are very much praised in all the reports. So I would say that there is not more or less corruption than the European average, and we should fight against this and to make everything more transparent.
Not more than the European average, but if I can then just pursue this question a little bit more. 3 members of your cabinet, and that's quite unusual, have been under judicial investigation for corruption. That's your transport minister, the Minister of Trade and Industry, and your Vice Prime Minister. Now, 2 of those have resigned because of corruption. The Vice Prime Minister hasn't. There is an issue of credibility.
No, because once again, none of these have been investigated for corruption in the public office. As I said, the anti-corruption institution, they've been very active. They have investigated almost everybody, and I think this is good. This is independent bodies, but there was no accusation of corruption since I took office a year and a half ago, and I think that being more transparent and letting all the institutions to be independent, it's the right answer to this.
A whistleblower is protected?
According to our legislation.
In reality?
Even in reality, of course, because all the institutions that have been negotiated before we entered the European Union, they have been implemented in the legislation.
One of the problems with this corruption issue for you has been accessing EU funds. There are tens of billions of euros that you could access, and this has been difficult for you, and it's been something you've been working on in your government. And when you arrived in government, Romania was the worst country at accessing these funds.
Now we are the best one in accessing European funds. We used to have in 2012 all the operational programs suspended by the European Commission. Now they are all of them operational, and this is one of the best results that we have succeeded in a year and a half, to unblock all the operational programs, to absorb more than 3 billion, to have all the programs operational, and I'm very satisfied the way that we have worked with the European Commission.
You're very keen to join the Schengen zone. Again, I come back to this issue of corruption. It's just a nagging problem for you, is it not? Because although technically you should be able to join the Schengen zone, some European nations are digging in their heels. How do you react to that? And what's your time frame?
There is no more time frames for us, because I would say, and I do not mean to offend anybody, these are just pretexts and for internal politics. The fact that Romania and Bulgaria should wait and not enter Schengen. We have very safe borders. This is according to the European Commission and all the technical reviews. We are able to protect very well the border of the European Union, and we have fulfilled all the criteria that Europe is applying to everybody. When it comes to the final decision, there is always an internal election in one of the countries, and there is always motivation to postpone it.
We talked about the European elections. With those European elections around the corner, do you fear a backlash on this? Do you think that this might push the issue of Schengen even further away?
I'm not afraid of not being Schengen. Sooner or later we will be, because it's according to all the European regulation. But I am afraid and worried to see that in the next European Parliament, maybe the representatives of the anti-European ideas, anti-European principles, the populists, the extremists, maybe they will increase their numbers. We must fight for the European values. As long as we will try to have the same approach like the anti-Europeans, we will simply lose, and they will win. And I think that Europe should be more united, should be more integrated, should be better coordinated in the internal but even external policies. And for short-time electoral gains, we should not jeopardize the basics of the European construction.
You spoke about your economy, and Romania has seen the best growth in the European Union.
Yeah, this is true.
You've mentioned the fact that you would like to join the Eurozone.
For Romania, it's a clear political decision that, unlike UK or some other countries, that we want to join the Eurozone. But that should not be very soon, because first of all, we need to have a strong economy. Eurozone doesn't need another weak economy. We have to be strong, we have to be competitive to add something to the Eurozone, not to add another problem. And second, of course, I'm very optimistic in this direction. The Eurozone will implement all the reforms based on the bad experience of the past in order to avoid new crises like we have been.
So you want to join the Euro when Europe has got its house in order?
I would say yes. I would say 2018 would be a realistic date, and I am carefully following the example of Poland. Romania is looking a lot to Poland. We have medium-sized countries, economies, and I think that the way that Poland is preparing for this, it's a good example for Romania too.
You are known to be a rally driver, or a keen rally driver.
I used to be, yes.
You've had quite a fast and rocky road in your first year in office. How has rally driving helped you prepare for being Prime Minister?
It's true that it's one of my hobbies, and I miss it since I've been a Prime Minister. Actually, I was not a very good rally driver. I was a very good co-driver, and I think that means that the country needs partnership to develop. I am calm. I know that being fast is important, but being safe is even more important. So I hope for Europe to recover very fast, but also to do very solid grounds for the future, and to be again that strong global player that the world needs.
Prime Minister, many thanks.
Thank you very much.